super excited to talk about The Boys season review. I am here in mismatching pajamas, and I am so ready to get into it because this season has been really amazing so far, and it has made so many conservative white people angry, and you know we love that. Now, so we're going to start, this is going to be episode 1 through 4. We're going to try and speed through it. Please like, comment, and subscribe, yada, 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 and all that good stuff, okay? So, first episode, we're basically at election night, which apparently is supposed to be set 6 months after the end of season 3. And we're talking about the new VP-elect, Victoria Newman. And of course, as we know, Billy Butcher is, of course, and always will be, a fucking liability. Let's be honest with ourselves. And he is actually fighting for Ryan's soul. Let's keep it a buck here. So this is on election night, and Homelander sees Billy Butcher and says, "Oh, look at all that cancer in your brain." This is, by the way, in front of Ryan, right? Who, by the way, he should be falling down in his face apologizing to after the crazy shit you said to that poor impressionable boy last season. But it's okay. I see you trying to make it better, and you're also dying. I don't like Billy Butcher. In fact, by the way, none of these characters are like good people. I want to make that perfectly clear. Yeah, none of them. None of them are good people. And if you were to ever read the comic, oh baby, it's okay. There's a reason why the comic was not adapted for TV. But I digress. Anyway, so like I said, he basically says in front of Ryan that so Homelander says in front of Ryan that, "Oh yeah, you're dying." And also, I want to preface it that Ryan, Homelander's kid, is very fucking uncomfortable with him. Anytime you see that kid, he looks like he is 2 minutes away from bursting into tears or having a full-blown mental breakdown. And you can tell that he's just uncomfortable because this man, Homelander, is just like, "Oh, humans are toys for our amusement." And I feel like we are not remembering what happened to Ryan's mom. And obviously, Ryan does not know that's what Homelander did. You know what I mean? I don't know what kind of love story he told him that happened with him and Becca, but whatever. Anyway, so after he says that he has 6 months left to live, then the mission further is falling apart because now Newman's daughter, I think her name is Zoe. By the way, shot up with Compound V last season, figures out what's going on, right, and opens her mouth and unleashes a full-blown quartet of murderous snakes just out of her mouth hole. I was not expecting that. I really wasn't, okay? And she immediately kills 2 agents from the detail, and Dakota Bob, which is the president-elect, is working with Grace and the boys because he needs to kill Victoria. He needs to kill Victoria Newman, who, AKA the head popper, which, by the way, I don't blame you. Right? I can't blame you for that. But this is the thing. Our characters got their asses handed to them completely. There's a moment where Victoria Newman goes over and she's like, "Hey, you guys are really bad at this. I see what you're doing, and no one's getting away with shit." And then, of course, Huey's trying to distract her, saying like, "What happened to us? I thought we were friends, you know?" And then she seems to be having an emotional moment. She doesn't really give a fuck. But anyway, moving on. So at this point, the botched operation leads to a much needed, that very much needed conversation. And honestly, the only thing we realized during that conversation was she's almost unkillable. He threw acid at her, and then Butcher came up behind her and shot her in the head, and still nothing. Just putting that out there, right? Now, most of the rest of the episode is spent obviously introducing more episodes for, more new characters for the subplot, right? So one of the characters that we see kind of surfacing in this episode is setting the stage for Sister Sage, right? So there's a meeting, and Homelander, who is just so bored with all of the people around him who are constantly just snogging his starfish, he actually says to the Deep, "Go suck A-Train's dick right now." And he's like, And he gets over to A-Train and says, hey, sexuality is a spectrum, right? And then I'm so glad Homelander stopped. He was like, get the fuck up, man. See, you guys are nothing but sycophants. You guys can't do shit for me. And it's just like, you can see him really starting to lose the plot. There's a scene in it where he's like finding like gray hairs. Apparently this man is peeing a lot. Like age is still licking that ass, basically. And he also still has an obsession with fucking breast milk, whatever. So we get to obviously now he's looking at people in the Seven and he's realizing kind of who he wants and who he doesn't want, and he ends up going to Sister Sage. And Sister Sage is a black woman, and she's also the smartest person on Earth. And she's like, why do you want anything from me? It actually doesn't make sense that you would want anything from me. And he's like, I need somebody who's actually going to tell me the truth. And she basically tells him that he's getting old and he's like losing sight of himself, and that's why he's here talking to her today. And she was like, he was like, I want you to join the Seven. She was like, absolutely the fuck not. And he says, why? And she says, because first of all, I'm a black woman that is so much more smart than you. There's no point in us doing this. Your ego can't take it. And he says that he's at least smart enough to listen. We shall see. This man is constantly killing people. I have no idea how that's going to go, right? So we invite Sister Sage in, and when I say immediately this bitch goes to work, immediately she goes to work. So now we have, because remember, all of the political commentary, and I guess the conservatives finally found out we've been making fun of you this entire time, and you just showed up. So we've got the Starlighters. The Starlighters, I guess they're obviously supposed to represent the liberals, and then you have, of course, like the home teamers, whatever the fuck they're called, right? They even have like a Tommy Lauren character who's also being indicted into the Seven as Firecracker, and she has it out super deeply for Starlight. Like, yeah, Tommy Lauren, Candace Owens, just wrap it up all up into a person, and that's basically who she is, right? And when Sister Sage decides that she needs to pit one against the other, right? We find out that MM's ex-wife's boyfriend is missing, right? Cut to finding out exactly where this man is at. They actually hold like a convention and just select 3 of the most devoted people to Homelander, right? And they bring him in the room. Sister Sage is like, come on in. She's obviously super disgusted with even talking to these people. And you see the Deep, and you see Black Noir, who talks now, because obviously the other one is gone. And everybody just wants him to shut up, by the way. And A-Train. And Homelander takes out 3 bats and says, I need you to beat them all to death. And you have to remember, and by the way, of course, they do it. He literally, after she goes out into Starlight's, the protest outside for Starlight, she throws a can, starts a huge eruption of a fight, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they did their research, okay? And started this huge hullabaloo, and all of a sudden, the Starlighters are just so violent. Is it giving you reminiscences of 2020 and BLM? That's what it was supposed to do. If it's not, don't be dumb. And then they take those 3 people that all of them killed, right? And leave them at the protest and just say, oh my goodness, the Starlighters are murdering people. Oh my God. I said, what the fuck? And that same type of, what do you call it? That same type of just like that sense of ridiculous injustice that you've witnessed was the feeling they obviously wanted to get from the scene, and oh, they got it. At least for me, I was so super disgusted. Now, at this point, and when I say I'm speeding through, I don't know what I'm forgetting, child. I'm doing what I can based off of my memory, because episode 5 is coming out tomorrow, and I'm gonna have to make a new episode. So we doing what we can with what we got, okay, baby? Now, and then another piece of the puzzle is that Kimiko, everybody thought that Kimiko and Frenchie, his character's a Zionist, I'm not going to stop saying it, they thought that they were going to get together. One season, one was into the other, and one season, one was into the other one, whatever. And we're realizing that Frenchie, who, by the way, if nobody knew that Frenchie was like possibly bi, then I don't know what the fuck y'all was going through. What were you watching? Like, I don't know if you were watching the same show, but there is this man that he's super interested in, who's actually working in Starlight's camp, because, you know, she's like a political activist and stuff now. She's no longer, she doesn't want to be Starlight, she just wants to be Annie January. And when you find out the connection between this boy, who, by the way, is super fine, okay? I was waiting for them to get into it, and the gay scenes are so super short, and I just want to say, feels homophobic, that's fine. But, like, you find out that Frenchie killed this man's whole family because he had, like, a political family and stuff. And you know Frenchie, who was doing terrible things back in the day, killed his whole family, and he's trying to figure out how I'm going to tell him that I killed your whole fucking family. And remember, he also got beat up at the protest. Child, I don't know what I'm missing. You can let me know. Now, moving on forward, you also see that Kimiko ends up getting into a fight with a random girl who's got a lot of cuts all over her face. And I swear, Frenchie, in that moment, when she's fighting all of these people and everything, because she actually had a flashback, like, at the convention, you know, where she was thinking about all of the, obviously, we know where Kimiko comes from. She's having flashbacks of all the traumatic shit that she was going through. And she just decided, you know what, I'm just going to kill everybody. And that's what she kind of sets out to do. And she accomplishes it. And during that time is when she's this girl with all of these scars, and you see that they obviously know each other. Ooh, and I think I also forgot to say that when they find Firecracker, the Tommy Lauren character, I just want to say that is one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen in my life. It really was. Because they did it to such a degree where they were literally taking everything that you have ever seen on Alex Jones and shoving it out of her mouth. It was so fucking believable. I was just like, yeah, she really must have a YouTube channel. And there was like people around. There was people around who were obviously helping her out with it. And I'm like, are they twins? And then I see 3 of them. I'm like, oh, they must be clones, and they're doing all the things for her, and they are obviously like super, super in love with her. And right before the fight scene, Mother's Milk and the rest, except for Butcher, who he tried to leave outside, actually ends up seeing them all in a train of ass eating. Because it was like 5 clones at once, and they were all staring at a picture of Firecracker, and I was just like, I love and hate this show so much, because that was so unnecessary, and yet so needed. Now, obviously, Butcher comes in to go ahead and save the day, so of course MM's got a soft spot in his heart again, and says, all right, I guess you can go ahead and help. I'll do it eventually, whatever. I already know how this ends in the comics with Butcher, and I just don't know where they're going to go with it, so I'm kind of sitting on, like, bated breath waiting for what Butcher is about to do next. And they actually make him, like, way more moral in the, which, by the way, if you haven't read the comics, I'm just going to say don't do it. Now, one of the other things that I want to also bring to the table, because I might be even going into episode 2, because, child, this is just going to be what I have gotten from it thus far. And I feel like another one of the really important parts that I love about the political commentary in the show is the fact that it is so fucking spot on. And to see people being like, oh, it got woke now, is actually amazing. It really makes me wonder how you thought Homelander was the good guy in the first place. And it makes me think somebody needs to check your fucking computer. So anyway, you have to remember, Firecracker has scrambled away, and she is now in the 7, and so is Sister Sage, who, by the way, again, is disgusted with everybody and everything. But I know for a fact, that's a black woman. That's a black woman who's super smart. Are you going to tell me that she doesn't want a little bit of power? I can see why you'd want to. Certainly nobody's ever given it to you before. And now you have a chance to be able to make this scene complete. And what I wonder, you know what I'm wondering though? When I see scenes with Sage and Homelander, it's more than her just wanting to make sure she gets under his skin. This feels methodical. There was a scene, and I don't know if it was from episode 2 or 3 or 4, but she is talking to Ryan and talking to Ryan about what his first save is going to be like, because nobody ever saves anybody, child. It's just lights, camera, action, and cue CGI, whatever. And they're obviously going over this with Ashley in the background, who, by the way, just got dismissed. Like, I'm sorry, we don't need you anymore, so just go, like, get papers. And she said something so interesting. She was just like, we need to basically move away from Homelander. We need to focus on his son, because we don't want to talk about lab rats and things that were just made artificially by the government. Homelander? This nigga's sitting right there. That's what you're saying. Okay, well, I'm just like, bitch, and she's the smartest person. I'm like, are you though? Because this does not feel smart. But she really is. She's definitely been, what's the word? She's been making me eat my words every single time, because she's doing it in such a way where he doesn't even realize it. She is pitting him truly against his son. Because remember, Ryan is a homegrown, basic son of God who has been put on Earth to protect us. Not one of the lab rats like Homelander. I'm like, bitch, like, I'm catching this. Are you catching this? And by the way, Ryan is so uncomfortable with all of this. There is this very nice Asian gentleman that he is training with to go ahead and do this save and all this good stuff. They're like, you gotta put a little power behind it. Obviously, Ryan's afraid. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. So here comes the day of the save, which, by the way, Ryan's supposed to be the one doing the save. No one else is supposed to do this, Ryan. So Ryan gets there, he's saying his lines, and he's like, oh, she's gonna get me. He's like, no, I won't let this happen, blah, blah, blah. And then you see Homelander just come out of nowhere and be like, no worries, you don't gotta do anything, son. I'm here to save you. Because even then, he can't stand the thought of not being the center of fucking attention. Mind-blowing. So he's just like, oh, well, he's talking to Ryan. And remember, he's got his hands on the bad guy. And he was like, throw him. And he's like, what? He's like, just throw him. And of course, Ryan's a super. What do you think happened? What do you think happened to that very good-looking, nice Asian gentleman? What do you think happened? Splat on the wall like a fucking fly. And of course, because he was still raised by humans, Homelander, Ryan's fucking devastated because he's a human being. He's like, I didn't mean to do that to that man. I think I liked him. I thought we were friends. Doesn't he have a family? So after the save, you see Homelander actually go up there with fucking, like, milkshakes. And it's so crazy because you can realize that he can only go from what he would give himself. He has no idea to think about what Ryan would want in this moment or what even Ryan's upset about. So when he gets there, he gets there and he's just like, I know what you're mad about. I get it. Puts down the milkshakes. He's like, I know you wanted to do your first save by yourself, but you're going to have plenty of time, blah, blah, blah. And he's like looking at him like, nigga, are you crazy? I just killed the man. I'm paraphrasing. I just killed the man. Is what Ryan is trying to tell this nigga. And he's just like, this is super weird. I'm not understanding what's going on, right? And by the way, he leaves and takes the milkshake back like, I came in here to try to make you feel better, you ungrateful bitch. It's like, he didn't want it. It's fine. Then you go back to Butcher, who, by the way, is trying so hard to figure out how he's going to get to Ryan. You see Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, who, by the way, plays Negan in Walking Dead. I don't trust him whenever he's on screen. What evils will you do? I want to know. Because all you seem to do is evil whenever it is you and TV. What you about to do today? So he's in the scene with Butcher. And, they obviously know each other. And he's just like, Butcher's like, I kind of think that you probably didn't just come to see me for shits and giggles. And he's like, I didn't. I just wanted to see if I could help you get Ryan. And then he's like, yes, I want you to help me get Ryan, but you can't then have him and turn him into a weapon. And he's just like, who's doing that? No one believes you. No one believes you. So he actually gets this drug that's going to be able to knock Ryan out so that he can wake up in a new place, because that's the way to talk to him. Which is fucking stupid. So Ryan's playing a video game. He's able to hack the video game, and Butcher's like, let's meet up somewhere. And he's like, oh, I shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. You know, my daddy won't let me, or whatever. And he's like, all right, fine. I will come and meet you somewhere. So he comes over, and they start playing, like, foosball. And, you know, he asked him if he was, and I remember at one point earlier, he asked him if he was scared of dying. And he was just like, I'm not scared of shit. Because, you know, it's Butcher, you know. How could he be mad? Whatever. He's looking forward to death. He's going to take it by the earth's cunt and just fuck it. I love death. Like, this nigga like wants to pretend he's the strongest thing since sliced bread, which is totally fine. And in this moment when they were playing foosball, he decided to be honest. And he said, really the thing that scares me is not making it right with you. That's the shit that scares me the most. And he was really about to feed this boy these cookies. And after having that conversation, he decided, there's a better way. I can get him to come willingly. You can see the cracks. This is not a person who was like fully, like, even though that creepy smile at the end of season 3 when he blew off, when Homelander blew that man's muffin cap back blue, and all you saw was jaw, and you see Ryan like, what the fuck? So I was worried about our boy now. I thought I was like, damn, we gonna have to kill Ryan. Shit. We might have to wait till he's 18, but we might have to kill Ryan. And so I'm so glad that that's not where this is going. Like, I'm sincerely happy about that. Right? So we've gotten to the point where that's what we're doing, right? Awesome. Now, one of the other highlights of the story, I've hated A-Train obviously since season 1. He was just flying through bitches and killing them. So obviously he hasn't been my favorite guy, right? And with this current season, I could see that his conscience is starting to bother him. And I appreciate that shit. I really do. Like, okay, so you're actually human in there. Because honestly, I feel like he's been unraveling since he killed Popclaw in season 1. I think that the unraveling has continued and happened. And he actually, after those men that he helped kill were dropped off in the street, and obviously people are like, take the Starlighters, they have to go. They found out late, he actually gave them surveillance footage. Actual surveillance footage. Saying that basically proving that it was impossible for anything to have happened at that protest. So obviously it was not the protesters that killed them, right? I'm not gonna lie. I was very, very, very happy about that. I was not expecting that in the slightest. And it made me think, sorry, I gotta plug this in. And it made me think, damn, this is actually nuts. You actually care. I'm sorry. Color me motherfucking surprised. I thought, yes, he obviously has care for his brothers and, of course, his nephews and all that stuff. But to actually care about what he did to Huey was shocking. And when he went ahead and did that, obviously the Starlighters get off for free. But now they got to go ahead and up the ante. They got to up the ante now. So now we've got Firecracker, who is having her own little outside gathering. It's her own Trump rally. Let's put it like that, right? So we're singing the American, shit, whatever. I don't care. We're doing the patriotic thing is basically what's happening. And she starts going off about Starlight in such a way that I was like, bitch, what is your problem? And we found out just in the episode before exactly why Firecracker doesn't like that bitch. And I'm sorry, Annie January. Yeah, you're kind of fucked up. I understand why you were fucked up. You were groomed to be fucked up. You were indoctrinated to be fucked up. But it doesn't mean that you weren't fucked up. Also, when you said to the judges that she had like a gangbang, yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah, she's gonna be mad. But now this bitch is going too far, and even I have to admit, okay, you've gone like way too far. So during this Trump rally that she's at, you've got and Butcher who are trying to figure out a way to stop this shit. So they go up to a Firecracker. While, by the way, they go up to Firecracker and say, hey, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and tweet this shit of you admittingly having intercourse with a 15-year-old boy. And she literally looked at him and pressed tweet and said, bet. And I was like, oh no. Those kind of bitches are very scary. She gets on stage and she says, listen, when I was young and before I knew the Lord, I was like, oh shit, I saw exactly what she was doing. She TD Jakes in this shit. She was like, have you ever been swallowed? No, that's not what she said. But no, for real, like, even if I was to do something terrible, there's nothing the blood couldn't take care of, was basically her stance. And everybody's eating it up, swallowing it up, the fact that she is a pedophile, period. We just don't care. And then we decide to go ahead and pulled up Annie's medical records, telling everybody that she's had an abortion. And I was like, so I'm gonna let you know, Starlight. So when you flew in, when you, could I be upset? I couldn't, because what you had done to that bitch was wrong. But this was too far. Because we're no longer teenagers anymore. We're actual adults. You see what's happening? Okay, cool. And I was just like, wow, cool beans. This is where we're at. And by the way, just so you know, Butcher, just to throw this in, there's something seriously wrong with Butcher. Because at one point, Butcher is actually trying to search things in Firecracker's room and shit. You know that stretchy ass nigga, the preacher from like season 1, came in, was about to strangle him half to death, and then he woke up and he had somehow popped that nigga like a balloon. But he doesn't have any powers that he can use consciously. Afraid. Afraid. He's going to do this with the wrong... You know what? It's fine. It's fine. We're going to see it. We're going to see it. We're going to see it. Okay. So we're also going to wrap this up. Because I have at least 3 more points that we have to make. I know this is all over the place. You'll be fine. So Sage in the Deep. Sage, not lobotomized, can't stand the Deep. Thinks he's an idiot. The Deep, who is still fucking an octopus, is cheating on the octopus now with Sage, because when Sage lobotomizes herself, she suddenly wants some fish dick. And I am displeased with these events. I'm displeased. I get it. I deeply, deeply get it. And it's so insane because this bitch is fully human. Like, she's fully human. The super part of herself is her brain. And I really love that element in it. I just wasn't expecting it all to be so much that she would want to lobotomize herself and let this nigga ass fuck her to Kim and Ray J's video. I said, I love a complicated character. I really do. And I really love where they're taking this. I love to see all of the different types of nuances that we have within it. And I'm sorry, the fact that the Deep is cheating on his octopus with Sage is crazy. She's like, you haven't cleaned my taint. I said, girl. I was like, that man gone for lamp. I'm sorry. Listen, and I also think that Sage is so pretty. I think Sage is so fucking pretty. And I love her character so deeply, but I love it because she is going to be the only person that knows, she is the only person that knows the only person to destroy Homelander is Homelander, but also, is that what she wants even? Is that even her goal? Because are we going to pretend that she may have, she obviously doesn't really have morals like that because she participated in framing like a whole, you know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering, like, what do you want exactly? What kind of power do you want? And what does it look like? Because I don't know what that looks like for her. I know that whatever the ending result is crazy, you know? So last bit before I get out of here, the last ending scene of episode 4. I just want to preface this with this is one of the very few scenes where I understood fully the brutality and I wasn't upset by it. And I'm not caping for Homelander in any kind of way. I am, however, caping for Homelander the child, John. You ain't had to do that. You ain't had to do that. That was so motherfucking unnecessary. So he ends up going back to his old digs, you know, the lab where he grew up. And so he goes in and he brings a birthday cake. It's all super ominous. He fries one in the oven because, you know, he just used to turn up the heat when I would scream. Man, you didn't last as long. And I'm like, no, he wouldn't have, John. And then he's like, oh, remember you used to call me sport? Yeah. Because you saw me masturbate one time and, you know, I was trying to have a private moment, but you wouldn't let me. So now I want you to handle yourself in front of everybody, or I'm going to laser your testicles off. Obviously, it was very difficult for that man to hold, you know, an actual. So he vaporized his testicles. And then the last woman, oh my God, the one person I was like, okay, this is the bitch you should kill. Who said, you could have left anytime you wanted to, but you just wanted our approval so badly. We brought in the best psychologists that we possibly could to be able to engineer you to want our praise. And I was like, she obviously wanted to die. Let's be real. She did not give a fuck. She was just like, listen, because you don't say these things to a man who can just, like, you know, pop you like a pimple, unless these are your goals, right? And he killed everybody but her. Left it as one big ass smear. I was like, and if we're gonna be clear, I feel like that's the only justified thing Homelander has done so far. Is it me? Cause what the fuck was that? Like and yes, they were just doing their jobs. But also you did it. So and now episode 4 is coming tomorrow, and I will be let me tell you something. Tomorrow I will be coming to you with way more details, okay? I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna have my notes all the way together. You hear me? I want to make sure that we're getting into all of the details, but I just had to make sure that I did this and I kept myself accountable and said I would do it, so I did it. Listen, there's barely gonna be any edits in this, okay? You'll be lucky if you get a welcome screen, because I'm trying to do what I could do, you know, insert Mariah Carey gift. I'm doing the best of what I got, okay? But I really, really love The Boys. If there's ever wanting to be a discussion on the differences between the comic book and the TV show, I would 100% do that. I just feel like it's also a very XR rated place to be, you know. But I had to read it, man, and I'm not gonna lie, a little sorry I did. Can't unsee certain things, right? But I am so, it's one of the, I feel like the reason why I love The Boys so much is because a lot of times when you see adaptions, you never see something better than the source material. And this is, in my opinion, this is better than the source material. It really is. And I truly love all of the different conversations that we're having. One last thing before I go. Where's MM's beard? My baby. Now, I don't know if that man married, and if he's married, I apologize. I'm so sorry. But why my man got his beard on? What's happening? Are you okay? Is everything good? Are you going through something? My love. Anyway. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I've done my due diligence, and then I will be uploading this tomorrow, right? And then I'll also be doing an episode, doing a review of tomorrow's episode tomorrow night, so you'll be able to get it. Jesus, I don't even know days anymore. Friday? Yes, you'll be able to get it on Friday. And then I'll also be filming another podcast this weekend. So the content is coming. I've got it for you. And we're going to do it together, okay? We're going to do it together. Anyway, I love y'all. I will see you in the next one.